I'm Charlie Higson. I do a few things, mainly writing. I write books. I've been writing books for kids recently, and I write for TV. I've done a bit of film work. And I act. And people probably know me best from doing The Fast Show back in the 90s. I've always enjoyed painting, and in fact, when I was in the sixth form, I was torn between whether I was going to go to art school or go to university. And I can't remember exactly why I decided in the end to go to university, but I think probably I felt deep down I was better at writing than I was at painting. Well, when I ended up going to university, I formed a punk band, a student punk band. It was 1977 with a couple of fellow students, Paul Whitehouse and Dave Cummings, and we were called the Right Hand Lovers. And we had a brief but incendiary career, which I think is probably appropriate for a punk band. We lasted less than a year, and then I went on to form another band with Dave. But I kept in touch with Paul over the years, and when we were approached about doing this project, because we'd done some other work with the charity, we pretended to reform the band. We haven't actually reformed, or maybe we did and then split immediately in the spirit of punk. And I thought, well, I needed to get in a couple of other famous people to try and help sell the painting. So we got Simon Day from The Fast Show, who is also very much into his music and played Brian Pern in the TV series, the mock documentary about a musician. But also, I'm good friends with the composer David Arnold, who has done film and TV, most famously James Bond and Sherlock. And I mainly got him in because I thought, what is a good topic for this painting? It's inspired by this painting that the Beatles did, the only known painting they did together, which reminds me of the Tommy Cooper joke, where he says, I've got a Stradivarius and a Rembrandt. He holds up a painting and a violin. He says, unfortunately, Rembrandt was rubbish at making violins, and Stradivarius was a rotten painter. Yes, which is probably... Actually, no, the Beatles painting is quite good. But inspired by the Beatles painting, we thought, well, let's do a painting of the Beatles. And David Arnold knew George Martin very well, had worked with him a lot over the years. He worked out of Air Studios, which is George Martin's studio. So I thought that would be great to get David in to do the fifth Beatle, George Martin. So yes, so David did the painting of George Martin, and he was he was trying really hard to make it good, because he was, had a lot of respect for George, but he was a bit upset by the final result, because, like I think probably quite a lot of the people involved in this exhibition, he hadn't really done any art since he was at school. He hadn't picked up a paintbrush, and you kind of often approach these things thinking you're going to be better than you are. But that being said, it is recognisably George Martin. That's the great thing, actually, about doing a painting of the Beatles. I think it's more a testament to their iconic status than to our skills as artists. But they are all instantly recognisable in the painting. We did it exactly in the spirit of the original, where we put the lamp in the middle of the painting, just as the Beatles done, and we all sat around the edge, and we all did our bit, and there was a lot of kind of looking at what other people were doing, and a certain amount of despair from some of the artists. Paul, who did Paul McCartney there, and Paul actually knows Paul McCartney a bit and has worked with him. He was quite happy about his effort, and I think what has happened is somehow the kind of character, the spirit of each of the individual Beatles has been sort of summed up in the artistic approach. So Paul's got this sort of cartoony, jolly, thumbs up kind of nature. John Lennon is a bit of a mess, avant-garde, shall we say. George there's something of the hippie about it. I think it's almost something of the Yellow Submarine feel to the picture as well. And then Ringo is Ringo. Well, we did it quite quickly. We thought, let's do it in the spirit of the Beatles. Let's do it in one session. We were probably there for about 3 hours, and resisted the urge to touch it up afterwards. I was itching to go around and fill in some of the other guys' work. But no, we did it there and then, quite quickly. And I think that's some of the charm of the painting, I think. I was really impressed actually seeing all the other paintings, but I'm impressed by most of them, particularly the ones that sort of hang together and feel like an actual artwork. And obviously, I mean, a lot of musicians are into art and probably do quite a lot of art, and you can tell the ones that do, and you can tell the ones that don't. I really like the Elvis Costello, I must say, but I think it's probably going to go for a lot of money.